Hi everyone, my name's Kirsty Ward. I'm 33 years old and today you're joining me on My Little Allotment, which is based in Lincoln in the United Kingdom. Now you're joining me on Sunday the 13th of November. It has been a very misty, foggy morning, so I've had to wait until the fog has cleared for me to be able to come down and film this YouTube video. Now this is going to be one of my first proper YouTube videos where I'm going to tell you a little bit more about me, about my allotment journey, and then I'm going to take you on a full plot tour of what my allotment looks like in November. Now I have to say, it's not looking great because it is miserable, it's wet, and I've got a lot of work to do to get it ready for spring. But I'm going to show you the real life journey of my allotment. I'm going to tell you all about the different parts of my allotment, what I plan to do and how I'm going to achieve that and get it ready for spring. Now, first of all, I wanted to talk a little bit about my journey into getting my allotment. Now, I started my allotment in April 2017. Now, unfortunately, my allotment was started around difficult circumstances. So I suffered from a really difficult pregnancy and birth with my second daughter Mila, and I was actually diagnosed with PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, back in April 2017. I was in a very dark place mentally. I was really struggling to cope with lots of things, and I had read about how gardening therapy can be really good focus therapy for people that suffer with PTSD. Now, I can remember when I was a little girl, I spent a lot of time on an allotment plot with my dad, and growing up he's always had, fruits and vegetables growing in the garden. So when I'd read about gardening therapy as a really good focus therapy, I thought an allotment would be a great idea for me. So I looked on the local council website and I applied for my allotment back in April 2017, and luckily there was a very small waiting list, and I actually got the keys to my allotment just 3 weeks later and started my allotment journey. Now, I don't want to go into a really deep conversation about mental health and gardening on this video, and it might be something that I'd talk about a little bit later on, but I was in a very difficult place, and all I can say is that my allotment absolutely saved me. It saved my life, and it has continued to be the best form of therapy that I've found to keep me well and to keep me mentally and physically well after struggling with PTSD. And I just can't be thankful enough for finding this space that has enabled me to carry on living life to its fullest. So I have a lot to be thankful for with my allotment, but also at the same time, when I come down and I see all the perennial weeds growing, sometimes I hate it just a little bit. But yes, my allotment is my little tranquil space that I come down to look after myself and to keep myself well, and it has been a huge part of my life for the past 5 years. Now, when I got my allotment back in 2017, I had no experience of growing. It has been a really fun learning journey, and mostly what I do is I give it a go, hope for the best, and then learn from my mistakes. But I started documenting my allotment journey on Instagram back in April 2017, and I started using social media as a bit of a diary of what I was up to, what I was doing, what I did wrong and what I did right. And from there, my social media platforms have grown really well, and I have a huge following of lovely gardeners and allotmenteers that come and follow my journey, and I'm very thankful for all of those people that help and support me. And I've had some wonderful opportunities come from having my allotment and going to see some amazing things, and I just want to say, like, you know, thank you to everyone that has followed along so far, and to everyone that's hopefully going to follow along a little bit more on my journey on YouTube as well. So anyway, I think that's enough about me. I'll just tell you a few quick things about my allotment. Like I say, my allotment is in Lincoln, which is in Lincolnshire in the UK. I don't know really what zone that is. I need to have a look, but I'm sort of like middle, just to the north slightly, to the east of England. I think we get pretty good, you know, all-round weather. You know, there's I get to start sort of most of my seedlings off at the start of spring. I don't have to wait too long for the first frost to pass. They're not really late frosts here, so it's quite a nice climate. And I'd say, I can't remember exactly, but I think my allotment is around 280 metres, 280 square metres of plot, which is quite a lot. It's quite a big plot, so I'm going to give you a really good tour, but I do it all on my own. I do have a little bit of help from my dad every now and then, but my dad actually has an allotment plot right there. I can see it right in front of me, so he's got his own to deal with, which has a polytunnel that we kind of share, and I'd like to make a little bit more use of that this year. But anyway, that's my allotment. That's a little bit about me, so let's go and show you around. Hi everyone, now I'm going to start at the top of my allotment and I'm going to work all the way down to the bottom. I am going to be filming this holding my camera because I wanted to take you on a proper plot tour where I take you to all the different bits, tell you all about them, so you get to sort of get a feel for the size of the allotment and what's going on. I didn't want to sort of set up a tripod and film each section and without you seeing it properly. So some of the filming is going to be obviously a little bit more wobbly and stuff like that, so I hope you're okay putting up with that. So I'm going to start right at the top. Now, as you can see, I've started a few of my winter plans already, and one of them was building a new compost bay. Now, I needed it to be a little bit more accessible, and at the moment it's down near my greenhouse and it's just really difficult to get to. So my lovely dad has helped me put together this pallet bay, and I'm going to be using this for composting. So I've got an easy way to, you know, put my compost in and flip it over and keep turning it. I've also got, I need to get rid of that blue pallet, but I've also got two bays here. Let me take you over. I've got these two bays here, and they're just going to be filled with all of the perennial weeds that are just awful to get rid of, like couch grass, brambles, bindweed, creeping buttercup. I think I have most of them on my allotment, so I needed some good space to put them in. As you can see, I've got a veg truck there. I've moved that there, that needs filling, and then I'm going to be putting all of my strawberry runners in it. I've got my water butt attached to my shed, and also here, let me show you. I have a water point. That is a communal water point, but it's great because it's right next to my allotment. Right, let me take you round. So just behind the compost bays, I've got this little raised bed area. Now, this did have more raised beds, and I've taken them out because it's more useful for me to have my composting bays here. These are just going to be weeded and refilled with some cardboard and compost and topped up, ready for next season. I like to grow, you know, like lots of leafy veg in here, like chard. I've got some strawberries and things like that. So this area just needs a really good tidy up. Now we've got to the area in front of my shed. Now this area is one of my favourite bits. It looks a bit drab at the moment. Half of it is filled with weeds because I actually never weeded it this year. Oops. And then the other half is filled with my dahlias. Now I love to grow all of my dahlia plants in front of my my shed. It just makes me feel so happy. So this is where all of my dahlia tubers are. You can still see that some of them are flowering. I have a lavender path that goes all the way up to the door of my shed, and all of this lavender needs pruning ASAP. I've got a bit here, as you can see, that is just full of lots and lots of weeds. So I'm going to weed all that, and then that will be filled with lots of extra dahlia tubers that I'll be buying next year, and I've also got some dahlia tubers that I'm going to be splitting and dividing that can fill this area. And then that's a little blackcurrant bush. So now we move in front of my huge rosemary plant, which smells absolutely divine. And as you can see, sort of from this side, like all of the dahlias grow up to the shed. Now, I had a really bad season with my dahlias this year. The heat was horrific, and to be fair, I had quite a bad season on the allotment all round, just because I couldn't really get down here that much. But next year will be much better. There's lots of mulching happening, so hopefully that will retain some of the moisture in the soil. Now, I've got this little bed here as well, which at the moment is just filled with some calendula and some dahlia tubers. There were new tubers this year. But this is all, again, going to be filled with lots and lots of dahlias, zinnias, cosmos, because I just love seeing them all in front of my shed. Just moving to the back of that small dahlia bed, I've got 2 raised beds here that I've got some dahlia tubers and lots of different bulbs in, like alliums and stuff, so they will stay as some nice little flower raised beds. I've got 2 really big sage plants here, which are beautiful when they flower, some lavender just behind it, so all of this will stay as a bit of a flower area. And yes, that is a roll top bath. I have always wanted a roll top bath, and I found one on Marketplace for like £30. So that is a roll top bath on my allotment. I've got a little Belfast sink there that's now a little pond, and this is normally filled with lots of flowers and stuff for spring and summer. So I think I'm going to make it an allium bath, which will then go into being a dahlia bath. So I'm very, very excited about that. I do grow lots of flowers as well as fruit and veg on my allotment. They give, it just brings me lots of pleasure to grow flowers as well. As you move down from the bathtub, you come to the first bed. Now this is a perennial bed at the moment. I have some amazing asparagus in here that's actually been in here for years. It's been in here for the whole 5-6 years that I've been down here, and it was here before, so I get a wonderful crop of asparagus every year. I'm so lucky. I have a little cherry tree that I put in, and I had some beautiful cherries this year, and I've also got some globe artichokes. Now I'd like to make this just a perennial bed, so if you have any ideas of things that you'd either like me to put in here or to see in here, let me know. But I'm also going to be moving my perennial kale over here and making some sort of netted area for it, because I'll show you where it is currently, but it's absolutely huge and the pigeons are loving it. So now we're going to start with the first big allotment bed. Now it starts here and it goes all the way down to about there, so I'm going to talk you through it a little bit and what I'm planning to do, and then I'm going to walk down the side, and then I'm going to talk about this allotment bed there at the back. So at the moment it's still full of lots of calendula, nasturtiums. It's got the runner beans pods that I need to get rid of. There's lots of clearing to be done on here, so the aim is to completely clear it, remove everything and put everything in the compost heap. Add some layers of cardboard into the compost as well, so you've got that good mixture of green and brown waste. And then all of this is going to be covered in a thin layer of cardboard and a nice thick layer of mulch. So lots of work to be done here. So I'm going to walk you down. Now, I talked about my monster kale plant. This is it. It's absolutely huge. It needs to be moved because it's not in the best place. I like to grow all of my, my giant pumpkins and my pumpkins and squash all on this bed, so it's not in the greatest of places. So I'm going to move as much as I can of it into the perennial bed, but it is unnetted, but the pigeons absolutely love it, and there's more than enough to go around. So I'm going to start walking down. Now obviously I'm going to be walking backwards, so hopefully I don't fall over, but as you can see, it's a really good sized bed. I mean, it's probably at least 2 meters, maybe more, across, and then obviously as you come down it does go on for quite a while. I suppose it's quite hard to show you how much space there is, but if I sort of turn around at the bottom of it, you can see back up. So that's the first of the big beds. So obviously there's the bathtub and the perennial bed, just there. And now if we move across, this this is a mess, a lot like most of it, but I haven't started any of my autumn and winter prep. They're my dahlia buckets that I normally grow my dahlias in. I've got a new arch there that I need to put up. No idea why I've left it outside. Sometimes I'm a bit of a messy gardener. And as you can see, there are a lot of weeds in the ground. Just going to whip all the weeds out, thin layer of cardboard and lots of mulch on that bed as well. There's an apple tree at the back there. There's also an apple tree here. Now, as you can see, let me just move down a little bit. This area is normally just grass. Now, the reason I've got a little grassed area is because I wanted a nice little seating area on my allotment, somewhere that me and the girls could come down and have a picnic and stuff. So there is a little grassy area there. At the moment, it's covered and filled with lots of plants that I've already ripped out and lots of brambles and stuff that needed to go in my compost bins, but my compost bins weren't ready, so it's all there. So all of that just needs to get shifted back to the top. Now we get to one of my favourite bits of the allotment, is this enclosed area. So I don't know if you can see here, there's just some small wooden posts with wire, but it goes all the way around this area. So it encloses in all of my raised beds and my beautiful, beautiful Freo greenhouse. Now, I absolutely love this area. I've got lots of plans for it over the autumn and winter months. I've got a lot of things that I need to achieve on this allotment, and that's why I wanted to document what I'm doing. And to document this, this is an area where I've dumped a couple of really old rubbish chairs that really need to go to the tip because they're broken. And you know, some of it does become a bit of a dumping ground for things that I need to take home, things that I don't use, things that I can hopefully pass on to other allotments. So I just wanted to show you a little bit of real life and what I get up to try and make this look amazing. If we start by coming in the gate, you can see these two little raised beds here. Now they are probably going to have some flowers in them because I love flowers and obviously like to, you know, attract as much wildlife and the bees and stuff and pollinators as possible. So lots of flowers. And then it comes into these two bigger raised beds here, and there's two arches that go over them. They're going to be planted with lots of leafy veg, maybe lots of pumpkins and things like that. I haven't made a plan this year yet, so as I develop the plans, I'll let you know a little bit more about what I'm, you know, planning to grow. But I grow lots and lots of things. I've got a plum tree just here, loads of bags of soil ready, and then also this other bed. Now I did plant some dahlias in there just because I didn't have any room, but all the dahlias will be moved from this. So this bed's going to be used to grow lots of veg and salad and stuff again this year. And then as you go through the archway, we've got two more beds here. Now these seem to be a bit of a problem because this raised bed area, the reason it's a raised bed area is because somebody decided before me to plant horseradish, and it's spread and it's horrific. So I've made a raised bed area with some plastic sheeting, lots of wood chip on it, just to stop it growing through. But as you can see, things still grow through and it's still difficult. But the idea is that it has kept the horseradish at bay, you know, quite a bit actually. So it's not too bad. But those two little beds just there need sorting out. I've got some bird feeding stuff that needs to go home and some plant pots and stuff that I need to get rid of. And as you see here, I've cleared quite a big space up the side of my greenhouse. So I'd like to add at least two more raised beds to that side. I've obviously got my greenhouse, which I'll show you. And then if we look the other side of the greenhouse, I have got the biggest rhubarb crown ever. And I have on the other side as well, the most beautiful rhubarb. So that stays there. But this composting bay, this is what I mean. It's very, very inaccessible because there's a gate to get into this section and then you have to weave around the raised bed, so it just isn't practical. So I'm going to get rid of all those pallets, see if I can sort of repurpose them for something. I've got two of those sort of compost Dalek bins. I'm going to see if anybody wants them because I don't use them. Just got a few bits of to clear. I've got my incinerator, which I'll keep. I've got a few bits to clear, and then I've got an amazing fig tree just here. Had some wonderful figs off it this year. But in this space, I want to add another 2 or so raised beds. So hopefully I can increase the amount of raised beds that I have. So either side of the greenhouse, there should be at least 2 more either side. Let me just take you around. So you've got the fig tree, and then you've got this area here. Now I've got a lovely wood burner there, so that's going to go on the grassy area. So if I do come down here and maybe it's a little bit chillier, I can maybe put that on and maybe roast some marshmallows with the girls, which would be really nice. But I have got this little space here as well, so I was thinking 2 more smaller raised beds there. Now it all looks a bit of a mess, but I promise you it doesn't actually take as much work as you think to get it going. So hopefully all of this space, as well as the rest of the allotment, will all be transformed very, very soon. Now you're going to have to excuse the state of my greenhouse because I've left it as a bit of a dumping ground for now. I've got all of my pumpkins and squash just curing in there. I'm going to get those home probably over the next week or so. The allotment greenhouse, because I've got a greenhouse at home as well, the allotment greenhouse is basically just for tomatoes because I absolutely love growing tomatoes. So what I've done is I've set up quite a lot of self-watering pots in here. I've bought quite a bit of equipment, but they keep the tomatoes watered for around a week. So if I'm unable to get here, or if there's lots and lots of hot weather, or if magically somebody wants to take me on a holiday, I can go without worrying about it too much. I've obviously got some staging in here. Now that staging actually is only in there during the winter. I start growing stuff on it in the spring, and then I just take that outside of my greenhouse for the summer because it's absolutely full to the brim of tomatoes. So I'll just go in and show you. I have got a little potting bench in here, which I'm thinking about moving because I don't ever really come in here to pot anything. So I grow all my seedlings at home, I repot everything at home, I do everything in my greenhouse at home, then I bring it down here. So I think I'm going to get that back home with me and maybe put that in my shed at home and make a little potting area space. So as you can see, I mean, they are still full of dead tomatoes. I've really, just going to apologise. I haven't started much of my allotment prep, but I promise you it will look good soon. So as you can see down here, there's these self-watering pots. I've got lots of different ones, and they go all the way around the outside of my greenhouse, and then they also run up the middle of the greenhouse. Now, they are amazing. They're not the cheapest of things to have, but for someone like me that can't get to the allotment every day, or doesn't have access to a hose pipe down here, that water butt is the top of the allotment, and it takes quite a lot of watering cans to water my allotment. This is a really handy way to keep them alive, especially with the weather we've had in the past year. It's been incredible. So if we're gonna have another hot season like we have in 2022, I'm gonna be better prepared. Now I'm down at the bottom of my allotment plot, so as you can see, it's quite a long way from the top, from where I started at the compost heap. It's a big old plot. I know there's a lot of mess, so it's hard to see past it, but I promise you, over the next few weeks and months and into next year and into the spring and summer of 2023, you're going to be seeing some very big transformations. And I think you're going to really enjoy all of my journey down here on My Little Allotment. So I thought I'd bring you in my shed just so I can show it you. Now, my shed was new to my plot this year. I got it built with my dad, and then I spent quite a lot of time getting all of the inside of it painted, so it looks really nice. There are a few bits of furniture and there's some boxes in here. It basically looks like I'm moving in, which I am. So I probably will do a video one day of me getting my allotment shed decorated and sorted inside. I've obviously got a nice little tea station here that's not up and running, so I need to get that sorted. But I'll definitely be showing you what I'm up to in here as well, because it's such a beautiful shed, and obviously you can see Like, it just looks out onto my plot, and that's another reason why I love this area to be filled with lots of flowers. So if I'm sat in here, I can really enjoy looking out at my allotment. Now I've taken you on a journey from the top of my allotment plot down to the bottom, and I'm hoping that it's given you a bit of an insight into how big the allotment is, all the different growing areas that I've got, and all the different projects that I'll be doing over the next few weeks and months to get it up and running. Now admittedly, the plot isn't in the best state, but I promise you, once I get stuck in, a lot of that will change, and over the next few weeks and months you're going to see some big changes going into the depths of the winter through to the spring and to the summer. And I think you'll really, really enjoy the development of the plot. So I'm hoping to bring you plot tours, maybe like full plot tours at least maybe once a month. I don't know, maybe you can tell me in the comments like how often you'd like to see the allotment. Like, would you like to see a plot tour every 2 weeks so you can really see the development? Or would you like to wait like every month and see what it's like at the end of the month? Obviously in between I'm going to be doing some videos about, like, you know, what I'm up to, tutorials and things like that, smaller videos. But on these longer videos, would you like, you know, for them to be a plot tour, you know, a plot tour for October, a plot tour for November, or would you like them every couple of weeks to see exactly what's going on down here? But I've really, really enjoyed showing you all around. I can't wait to sort of show you around again in December so you can see maybe what's changed. Hopefully, fingers crossed, I've had some time down here to come and get stuck in and get some work done. But we'll have to see how the weather holds out. Now, obviously, as well as, you know, putting some videos out here on YouTube, you can follow My Little Allotment over on Instagram, Facebook and Twitter, and on there I do maybe more daily updates, especially on Instagram and Facebook, where I sort of let you know what I'm up to. I do short little videos, I do stories of my day and what I'm up to as a person, as well as my allotment. So if you want to see more snapshots of what I'm up to daily, then you can follow me over on those social media sites. But if you just want to continue following me down here, I will try and post as many YouTube shorts as possible, maybe a couple of videos a month of like things that I'm up to or tutorials, and then also I will obviously be doing my plot tours. So you just need to let me know how often that you'd like to see the plot tours. But thank you so much for watching my video, and I'd really, really appreciate it if you could like this video, if you could subscribe to my channel, and if you can let me know in the comments just, you know, anything really, anything about my allotment that you want to know, any questions, or, you know, let me know the sort of content that you'd like to see. But I've really, really enjoyed filming this video, so I'm going to sign off now and I'm going to go home and get myself a nice cup of tea.